Hey, it's Lindsay with Ryan Rose, and Mo Ottinger here is with me. He is the campus pastor at Fellowship Memphis, my home church, and we've come to get to know each other really well and being able to serve together. And so he is the man behind the Red Tubs and the Memphis Family Connection Center. You with your wife Tana have done just amazing things for the city of Memphis. And so well, we're going to do a poll. Do we think we're going to cry? I know I've been emotional all day.
So I'll say on Sunday, when I was up on stage talking about Red Tubs and I started crying, I heard one of our musicians behind me said yes, and I asked him. I asked him after. It was David. He said, "Man, we were betting on when you were going to say." He goes, "The over under. I won. I get lunch.
Well, I think I've cried 3 times today, and I was like, I'm not usually this emotional, but So it's been a really cool day. But anyways, back to Red Tubs in the Memphis Family Connection Center, and so I just wanted to on YouTube just kind of talk about what that is and what you guys are doing by supporting Ryan and Rose. We're able to support the Red Tubs and support the Memphis Family Connection Center. So just tell us a little bit. We'll start with Red Tubs. You have seen us on Instagram at Ryan and Rose talk about Red Tubs, and this is something, I think this is year 3 or 4 for us, the Farrells. Whitney does a tub, we do a tub, and it's just something that we get to do together with the girls, with Ryan and now with Charlie, and being able to buy. But so we're gonna start with Red Tubs, and so tell us, how did Red Tubs start?
I really just felt a burden of wanting to do something for the foster care system. And also, when I heard about the Department of Children's Services, it seemed to be this big, scary organization that's out there. And so I thought, I'm just going to call them and go meet with them and kind of break down some walls. Yeah. And so first meeting, I said, what do you need? What can I do? And they said, man, we have 28 kids that need Christmas. And I said, well, I want to take care of it. So I left the meeting, stopped at Target, and walked the aisles just trying to figure out, are we going to do Christmas in a gift bag, or how are we going to do it? And there on an end cap was a red tub.
Not purple tubs.
Not purple.
Red tubs.
I'm glad they were red, but yes. So they had 28. They actually had the exact number 28. So I just put them in a buggy, took them, and stood up in front of church on Sunday and said, man, each tub represents a child, and I need you to fill them. And so year 1, which was 9 years ago, we did a Christmas party for those 28 kids. And then I think the next year we did 75, and the next year 110, and which leads into this year, which we'll do over 800 children.
800. Did you hear that? 800 Red Tubs for Memphis, for the kids in Memphis.
So it's fun. I mean, it started with Fellowship, and this year I think we have 9 churches.
Which I think has brought churches together.
It has. It's been really neat. It's, we can kind of live in our own little worlds, and it really has been fun to see the churches rallying around families and children in our city. And I'm kind of blown away every year that, 800 kids, that's crazy. People are standing up in front of their churches, and people are responding, and the body of Christ is responding, and so it's neat. It's really
neat. I think what's cool is the kids make a list. So it's not hey, they need underwear, they need socks. They get stuff that they really desire.
That's right. I've always, one of the very first party we did, there was a 17-year-old boy who, when he was leaving and we were going to hand him this tub, and my expectation was that he was going to be thrilled to get it. And he said, man, I don't want it. It's probably full of deodorant and underwear and socks, and that's what I get every year.
Yeah.
And we ended up giving the tub to his foster mom, who gave it to him, and he later came back to the party and just kind of fell into my arms crying, and I was crying and all this. And so the term I always use is just thoughtfulness. They have the list and people go shopping, and I really feel like the people are praying for the children. There's a connection there. Like you said, you and the girls go shopping, and you're getting to know the child. And I just think people are so thoughtful in what they're buying for the kids. And there's some practical things in there, I'm sure, but I tell them, man, don't be practical. Just bless them. Just bless them.
I think it's just really cool. It's become a tradition for us. But what's also cool is like they're not just getting a tub, but there's an event.
That's right.
So like
that's
what
right.
is that? I know we volunteered before, so what does that look like? And that's a lot of planning.
It's chaos is what it is. It's chaos. A party for 28 kids is one thing. Now the party has grown for sure. And so again, churches and businesses and we kind of all come together because we feed. It's not just for the children,
right?
But it's for siblings. It's for parents. It's in
the foster care system.
In the foster care system, that's right. And so we will have over 1,000. So the party's actually for about 400 of the kids.
Okay.
And so then you add siblings and parents. I mean, we're 1,200, 1,400 people.
Right.
And so we've got everything from pictures with Santa to hot chocolate and popcorn and games for the kids and crafts.
I think one year
there's sleigh rides and petting zoos and there's a lot packed into a couple hours. And so it's a sweet. I mean, all the social workers and caseworkers are there. So these are all the families that they're walking with, week in and week out. And so it's kind of a big. Yeah, it's just neat for us to see. The Department of Children's Services staff there as well, and so we do Christmas for the kids. We kind of bless the families with the party and meal. We also do Christmas for the Department of Children's Service workers as well and staff, and just thank them for what they do. Yeah,
I think you told a story it might have been a few years ago, but talking about how these kids sometimes like that becomes the tub goes with them.
It does, yeah. I've also volunteered on the Foster Care Review Board for our county, and basically the role of the Foster Care Review Board is to make sure that the foster children are, as they're getting older, that they're getting what they need as far as just making sure that if they're behind in school, they're getting tutoring. If they need certain things as doctor visits or whatever it is, that we kind of help make a plan to make sure all their needs are being met.
Right.
And so, you have a child come in, you kind of look at the case and all their folks, and this girl came in and she's kind of telling us her story. And one of the ladies I was sitting beside, she asked this young girl, she said, "Man, tell us your highlight of the year." And she said, "You're not going to believe it, but like there was this party that was thrown for us, and we got this red tub, and man, it was just unbelievable. Like a complete stranger made this tub for me, and it was like so great." And the foster mom was sitting there. She goes, "Yeah, and that party was 6 months ago, and that tub. I mean, she takes it with her.
Yeah.
So it's part of. She was gearing up to go off to college." Because this was summertime when we were meeting, and she had packed it she was taking that red tub to college with her, and so it was more than it's more than a party. It's more than just Christmas. I mean, it is for many of these kids. It is a special memory.
I know you said this last Sunday, how many y'all have to do, because there are a set amount of kids in the foster care system right now in Memphis, but then how many are between now and Memphis, how many are gonna be added?
Yeah, so we've given out all the red tubs, but now we have a month until the party, and so we're gonna see another 50 kids come into care, and then the party's gonna be December 14th. Well, then Christmas is another 10 days, 11 days, and we'll probably have another 50 kids. And so last year, what was really neat is we had such a response. We had the party, and all the tubs were distributed to the other agencies, and we had these extra tubs, and the 50 kids that we did not have at the party came in. They got Christmas. Those kids between now and Christmas got Christmas, and then there was a group of children that were in our children's hospital that got admitted that got Christmas, and then also there was an organization that they kind of posted on social media that they had some Christmas fall through help, and so that was kind of fun. That was really fun to be able to call and say, if you can have a U-Haul out here, we got you, all 60 kids, and so that was really fun.
So I know we have kind of talked about on Instagram how we when you get a red tub, you're not only filling the red tub, but you're also giving a check to the Memphis Family Connection Center. And so, kind of talk about that and how what is the Memphis Family Connection Center?
So I am a dad of 6, all through adoption, and which JB is as well. That was here earlier.
And I feel like adoption is a big part of our church.
It is, absolutely. I would say when I look back at our children's ministry, man, there's probably 25% of the kids that are running down those halls are adoptive or foster kids or children in foster care. And so I just totally lost. What was your question? Yes. So with that, one of the things that I've walked the road personally was when my children, they needed a counselor, or we needed speech therapy or occupational therapy. We as a family had the means. If we needed to drive downtown for an appointment, we could do it. If we needed to drive out to a suburb, we could do it. If we needed to come into the heart of the city, we could do it. When I was working on the Foster Care Review Board, I realized, one, not all kids are able to get services. Two, not all families are able to just drive and go. And so we said, what if we put a team under one roof that kind of specialized in trauma and could meet holistically the whole family's needs? And so 4 years ago, we launched the Memphis Family Connection Center. We have counselors, social workers, occupational therapy, speech therapy, art therapy, play therapy, nutrition. We do parent mentor, parenting classes. We wrap around the whole family. Right. And so,
because I think what sometimes we forget with adoption is we just think, oh, there's a new kid in the family, but like, how do you transition into that? And like, there's all these emotions and feelings, and it's a hard. It
is, and adoption and foster care does not exist without loss.
Right.
I mean, and James 1:27 says, pure and undefiled religion in the sight of God is to visit orphans and widows, and we kind of stop right there, but it goes on and says we visit them in their distress.
Right.
And so I always say our job as foster parents, as the church, as adoptive parents, is we're not saving a child from that loss. We have the privilege of entering in, and so entering in means we're going to provide a healing home, a safe home. And that not only is that child going to experience healing, but we ourselves as parents get to go on that journey, because we've all experienced trauma. And so that's the beauty of. I mean, we all know that as parents, our children take us on a healing journey.
I know recently when I was talking to you and Stephanie, I know last week on my Instagram stories, like as a parent, my biological children, I'm struggling. Yeah. Like, why are there not parenting classes? Like, that should be required.
Right.
So I get it. And even the Memphis Family Connection Center can serve people who maybe not exactly foster or...
Oh, absolutely. I think that's kind of been... we set out and opened the center for, hey, we're going after adoptive and foster families, but we serve kind of everybody.
Right.
And our parenting classes fill up every time, and
I know Ryan's dealing with anxiety, and we were talking, I was like, Mo, what's up? Like, how can I do? Like, what, help me. So even stuff like that, like.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so there's, I would tell, we want to be a resource for families, and we believe in strong families and strong communities, and that's really the heartbeat behind the Memphis Family Connection Center. And then our program, Empowered to Connect, allows us to kind of take that outside of Memphis and around the country and globe.
To me is mind-blowing. So tell us a little bit of what you've done just in the last few years.
Yeah, so Empowered to Connect, which empoweredtoconnect.org, or you could go to the Facebook page, we've partnered with Texas Christian University and Dr. Purvis and the work that she's done there. She's a developmental psychologist and a believer, and her work, the last 25 years of her life, was really looking at children and the effects of trauma and anxiety and fear. And so really our work around those things, we've got parenting curriculum and conferences, and that's kind of I don't want to say a big crazy word, but that's our modality of care. So all of our, at the Memphis Family Connection Center, all our staff, like when we sit down with a family, we're all coming from the same school of thought. And so Empowered to Connect. So Empowered to Connect's goal is to create resources for families.
And I know now I've heard that y'all are doing stuff for y'all are training, even is it Memphis, police, or I forget what you said that was.
Well, so, you start doing work around trauma, people start calling saying, what can you, that's right. And I always say this is kind of one of those God things of the goal was to have a center serving families. Right. And then, we just did a training last week for the bus drivers of Fayette County because they wanted them to be equipped for children on the bus that have, that are deregulated and all of that. We do a lot of training for school teachers and nonprofits in the city. Yes, we're doing some work with the police department and hospitals, children's hospitals. And again, just, trauma affects children and parents, but it's not just an easy, it affects the whole body. Right. And so it's not, we always say we got to look at the need behind the behavior. And I think so often, as parents, we just look at the behavior. Right. And we got to ask the question, what's going on behind that behavior? And that's what we're saying to bus drivers and school teachers. Right. Like there's something driving that, and how do we come along our kids and partner with them and help them in that regard.
I know me personally, I taught at White Station for 11 years and always had this urge that one day we would adopt. Even as a kid, I was told I would never have kids. So, of course, as a young teenager, I thought, I'll adopt. I ended up, God blessed me with 2 little girls. Yeah. But I always had that idea in my heart that I'm going to be a big part of adoption. And what's crazy is God's really showed me lately, okay, you might not be adopt, but you can give, Lindsay. Absolutely. And, it just really kind of puts me back in my seat because, I don't know, it's just really cool. So I think being able to tell you and you might your heart might be for adoption or fostering, and maybe you're not able to right now, but just by giving $5, $10, just a little bit helps support Memphis. And I know you, I think recently, are even internationally doing stuff with what countries were? Yeah,
so we've got we just did a big training here in Memphis, and so we've got trainers that are doing work now in Canada and South Africa. We've got about 200 trainers in the U.S., and then in February we'll be doing work in Mexico City and Guatemala. Right. And so kind of crazy. Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing, and I think that's what I want, the cutie community and Ryan and Rose to know. Even just by you think you're just purchasing a cutie pat or a cutie clip, but you're allowing us to be able to give to the Memphis Family Connection Center and be a big part of Red Tub and Engage Memphis and Fellowship and. It's hard because I don't want to be look what we're doing, but what you're doing is such a beautiful thing and such a powerful thing. And so we just thought it would be cool to kind of highlight that.
Well, and I want to say, you and I have joked over the last month, because I'm not Mr. Social Media. I was telling Lindsay, someone texted me hey, make that post public, and I was like, I thought it was public.
What do you mean?
It's on. I don't know how to do that. Yeah. So, but I think really for me, I feel like in the last month is I've watched all that you're doing and the impact that you are having. It's pretty sweet. Yeah. It's really, really sweet.
It's just cool to see where God's taken us, and the journey of Ryan and Rose, the roller coaster of all the emotions, but really it's what God, just trying to, Lord, what do you want me to do? Just guide me. And so it's really
well. I think the neat part for me, just watching from the outside, is that you have been the same from the very beginning than you are now. Well, that you have wanted to honor the Lord and give back, and that it's not just about a product from day one. Yeah. And so I think it's easy for some folks, once they get to a certain point, that now, hey, we're going to have this give back piece. But that's really been the heart of you and Brett from the beginning.
Oh,
yeah, kudos to you. And I've just been blown away as I've entered into the cutie community.
Yes,
it's a community. It's a community. It really is. It's really neat. It's really neat.
We see what God's doing out here, but in the cutie community, what's God's doing there, and we talk about it all the time, and this has become a ministry for us, and I know we talked about with John a little bit. So, but thank you for taking time. I know you're off on Fridays, so
not this time of year. It's I've been delivering red tubs everywhere.
I know. So make sure you're following the Memphis Family Connection Center on Instagram. We're going to talk about you guys more and show you behind the scenes. I know we're going to show you behind the scenes of us buying for the tub and with the girls, and so it's just really awesome to see what God's doing. So thanks, Mo.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Thank you.